This is part 2, y'all.
Brutal and terrifying. It's shot in a surprisingly tame way, which is also the case when Leatherface revs his chainsaw up and gets to carving into Kirk's corpse. None of this is pleasant,
Like a second
but it's a
kill.
whole lot less explicit than you'd probably expect. That'll change in the sequels. When Kirk and Pam are gone longer than expected, Jerry offers to go look for them and travels through the woods as the sun goes down. Disco Stu, walking into the sunset. He gets to the old house and also comes around front, where he proves that B&E is just part and parcel for all these rude-ass kids, or 30-year-olds. He heads back into Leatherface's playroom, and although the meat hook is empty, there are sounds coming from the freezer. He opens it to find Pam. Wait, why is she still? Wasn't she just... Oh, there she is. Get on up, girl. One of the best things about this movie is the sound design. From all the industrial sounds that Tobe Hooper recorded in his own home to the sudden instances of loudness like that one. And this one. Leatherface runs in and
Only 2 kills
to kill him nice and quick. Disco Steve hopping on the kill count. With Jerry taken care of, Leatherface puts Pam back in the icebox. And that's actually the last time we see her, so I have no choice but to put her on the kill count now. Maybe she froze to death in there? I don't know what to tell you, man. Regardless, Leatherface is getting sick of playing defense here. Well, where are all these darn kids even coming from? Gosh, I moved to the countryside to get away from hooliganry. The late Gunnar Hansen played Leatherface so perfectly in this movie that it's easy to feel bad for the poor guy. Just keep licking at your messed up teeth, Leatherface. It'll all be okay, my sweet boy. Since Jerry had the keys in his pocket, the Hardesty siblings are stranded by the van, so they end up having to set off into the darkness to find him. Man, it is super freaking dark in these woods. Franklin, could you please shine that flashlight somewhere useful? Stop. Oh, it's fucking Leatherface! And he saws into Franklin like a sapling.
4 kills.
The poor boy's body up right there in his wheelchair while his sister watches and screams like a mad woman. Fun fact, the blood sprays here came from Hooper and makeup artist Dottie Pearl crouching down on either side of the wheelchair and spitting fake blood out of their mouths onto Leatherface. Sally eventually gets the sense to run away and heads through the thickets to the only light she sees, hoping it'll bring her salvation from the chainsaw-wielding maniac on her heels. But of course, the light ends up being Leatherface's funhouse of horrors, and he don't exactly need a key to get through that front door. While he saws into it, Sally runs upstairs and into a back room, where she finds a corpse or two sitting in chairs, unable to offer her any advice. We'll see a lot of dried-up corpses of unknown people in the Chainsaw series, and I won't be including them on the kill count. It's fine, don't worry about it. Rather worry about poor Sally, since Leatherface is finally through the door. Sally's not done running, though, and doesn't even hesitate to crash through the upstairs window and fall to the ground to escape her would-be killer. We start the second lap of Sally's final girl circuit, which once again takes us through the haunted forest. The finish line of this lap is that gas station they had stopped at earlier. Sally bursts through a side door and falls onto the floor, but Leatherface doesn't seem to follow her inside. Instead, the old man from the gas station sits her up and tells her everything's gonna be okay. He'll go get his truck and take her to a hospital. While he's out, Sally notices the sizzling meat this guy's got cooking, which, you know,
You're Jeffrey Dahmer.
Except when he comes back, he's sporting an awfully creepy smile on his face. Oh, and also, he's got a human-sized sack and some rope. Yeah, them some red flags.
Like Jeffrey
Sally
Dahmer.
wisely grabs a knife to defend herself with, but everybody knows that broomstick beats knife. Oh, and Sally. Broomstick also beats Sally. The old man, who's known as the cook in this movie, but will come to be known as Drayton Sawyer, knocks Sally out and ties her up, then bags her and drags her into his truck. Man, poor Sally. Really out of the frying pan and into the cook fire with this one.
I hope you're not too uncomfortable down there.
Well, I would be if you stopped poking me with that broomstick, dick. The cook / Drayton Sawyer is an absolutely loathsome motherfucker, and he's played brilliantly by Jim Sedow, who was pretty much the only experienced actor in this movie. As Drayton approaches the Sawyer house, he sees the hitchhiker in his native state walking down the side of the road. Drayton gets out of the truck and yells some slurs at the hitchhiker before giving him the old broomstick beatdown in another of this movie's brilliant and beautiful shots. God damn, I love this cinematography. They get to the house with Drayton still hooting and hollering at the hitchhiker, because it turns out these dudes are brothers to each other. And to Leatherface. It's weird. I always used to think that Drayton was the hitchhiker and Leatherface's dad, but I guess he's just the oldest brother. And right now, he's taking that brotherly broomstick to his youngest sibling, Leatherface. Leave him alone, Dre. All he wants to do right now is dress and sound like Mrs. Doubtfire. The hitchhiker, who will come to be known as Nubbins, ties up Sally and discovers her identity, much to his delight.
you was in a hurry.
Yeah, Sally's in a real bad place right now. And if you don't want to watch chaotic misery inflicted on a captive girl for 10 minutes straight, well, I got some bad news for you, friend.
EVE Online on Mac immerses you in a universe with thousands.
Before the festivities can begin, though, you better get Grandpa and bring him downstairs. Yeah, set that dusty boy right at the head of the table. The Sawyer boys cut open Sally's hand and tell their granddad to take this, her blood, and drink of it. And he does. Man, I thought that dude was dead. But turns out, all we needed was some teenager blood, and he turns into the Six Flags guy. The Sawyer bus is coming, and everybody's jumping. Grandpa Sawyer, the character, is supposedly 124 years old, but he was played by John Dugan, who was only 19 at the time. The character's incredible makeup, which took 5 to 7 hours to apply, was done by Dr. W.E. Barnes in his one and only film credit. His actual job was as a plastic surgeon. Also, if you dig Grandpa Sawyer's dance moves here, you'll be happy to know John Dugan can still do them nearly 40 years later. Sally passes out, and when she comes to, she finds herself in the middle of a fucking night.